We just finished Daf Mem Beis, which is today's Daf. And now, for all those who haven't heard the shir or haven't learned the Daf, we are going to do Daf Mem Aleph, which is the first day of Rosh Hashanah. And it promises to be a fascinating Daf. More so on Amud Beis. It actually talks about it's the amazing Hashgacha Pratis that this Daf was learned on Rosh Hashanah and has everything to do with Rosh Hashanah. And gives us ideas and concepts in Yiddishkeit that are unbelievable. To me, at least, I don't know how to rate. It's not good to rate things like that, but let's call it top 3 Yisoid in Yiddishkeit. So here we go. We're holding Daf Mem Amud Beis, 4 lines from the bottom. V'Amar Rabba. Ki avinu be Rav Huna yibayilon. Says Rabba, when I asked Rav Huna, Bar be Rav the Yosef b'Tanisa b'Mali Shabbos. What about a Talmud Chacham who's fasting on Shabbos? He fasts on Shabbos. Ma'ula Shlumei. I'm sorry, Erev Shabbos. So there's a shaila today. The Shulchan Aruch says we don't really fast anymore. Hasidim used to fast based on this Gemara. Tzaddikim would fast on Erev Shabbos. Now we know that it's an Isser D'Oraisa to fast on Shabbos. And this also has a little bit to do with Rosh Hashanah, because a lot of places they have a kiddush before Tkiyas because of this idea of not fasting, and we'll see a little bit about that. What's the idea? What's the problem? Now, what comes out is very interesting. It's usher to fast on Shabbos even for a minute. But I go to shul, I'm in shul for 3 hours on a typical Shabbos, or however long it takes. If it's chazanas or no chazanas, isn't that fasting? I'm not allowed to fast for a minute, but I'm in shul for 3 hours. I'm forced there. I can't do anything until I come home. So what's the answer? The answer is, I also fast when I sleep. The answer is that if I say that I'm in a fast, I'm fasting right now, that's a problem. But if I'm just in shul, I'm not eating, I could eat at any given moment. So here's the shaila. I'm fasting on Friday. When is my fast over? I taste a kachavim. Yeah, I have to wait after Ma'ariv usually, after nightfall. But those few minutes of nightfall, I'm fasting, and it's Shabbos. How could I fast on Shabbos even for 1 minute? I can't eat at that minute, because if I eat at that minute, I break my fast. So I'm forced to fast, and I'm not allowed to fast. Yeah, I go to shul, and I daven l'chadoidi, and I'm fasting, but I'm not fasting. I'm not forced to. But when I'm forced to, that's a problem. So, Barbi Rav Yosef Tanisa b'Mal Shabso. A choshev guy sitting in a tainus Erev Shabbos. Ma'al Ashlume. So let's just be familiar with this word. Lashlume means finish it up into Shabbos. Go into Shabbos fasting. Finish the day. Lahava biyadei. He didn't know. Also, the Kamid Rav Yehuda. And we have to remember this name. Rav Yehuda. Who's Rav Yehuda? Rav's Talmud. Shmuel's Talmud. V'lohava biyadei. He didn't know. Let's figure it out ourselves. The Sanyo. Tisha B'Av shechalis b'Shabbos. What about Tisha B'Av that falls out on the Shabbos? V'chein, top of Mem Aleph Amud Aleph, v'chein Erev Tisha B'Av shechaliyos b'Shabbos. So Erev Tisha B'Av, we know, we do Suda Mafsekes, and it's a very shvacha meal. You can't eat meat, can't drink wine, you can't have 2 tafshilin, you have a little egg with it, but it's Shabbos. The Suda Mafsekes falls out on Shabbos. Erev Tisha B'Av is Shabbos. The halacha is, do whatever you want. Eat as much as you want. Meat, wine. You could have a suuda like Shlomo HaMelech had. Why? Shabbos. I don't care about Tisha B'Av. Now, this is our case right over here. Chalio is Tisha B'Av Erev Shabbos. What if Tisha B'Av falls out on Friday? Listen to this. That's our shaila. Could he finish the fast all the way into Shabbos, and Memela, he fasted 1 minute on Shabbos, whatever, a few minutes on Shabbos, or perhaps he has to break his fast on Friday. Wouldn't that be incredible? You have to break your fast on Friday. Tisha B'Av, you're going to break it before Shkia. Says the Gemara, Chalis b'Tisha B'Av er Shabbos mevin like a beitza v'oichel. He breaks his fast, says the Gemara. Breaks his fast. How? He takes an egg and eats an egg. Kedei shelo yikones l'Shabbos kishehu me'una. He's not allowed to be starving. You have to make sure you eat. You have to not be starving. Well, that's not good coming into Shabbos. So he eats an egg on Tisha B'Av. Believe it or not, on Tisha B'Av. No, that's not halacha l'maisa. That's what the Gemara says right now. In fact, the Gemara says, Tanya Yomi Eruvin, Pamachas Yomi Eruvin v'nei Rebbe Kiva. We were once in front of Rebbe Kiva. V'Tisha B'Av shechalu es be'erev Shabbos hoya. Same story. Tisha B'Av was on a Friday, and it's getting really close to Shabbos, and he's fasting. And he's not allowed to go into Shabbos fasting. V'evi'u lo beitza megulgeles. They brought him an egg that you could spin. So if you remember, in Masechet Shabbos, I brought 2 eggs to shir. I spun one, it flew around because it was cooked. The other one it goes around one time and dies. So Migul Gelis means that it can spin around nicely. Says Rashi, Tzluya Raka. It's like a runny, what do they call it? A runny something. Soft-boiled egg. No, soft-boiled egg? A runny boiled egg. Soft-boiled egg, okay. Basically, the way I understand it is because it's kind of gross. Most people don't like to eat that. And in fact, he didn't even add salt to it. It was really gross. The point is, he wanted to break his fast, Rebbe Akiva, by eating a kibetza. That's how you break a fast. He ate a kibetza on Friday, right before Shabbos, with a gross food called a soft-boiled egg without salt. And not because he really had a taiva for it. He wanted to show the Talmidim halacha. Now, Tosfos, the top Tosfos over here, says, and I have it over here, I think most of you should have the Rabbeinu Chananel on the side. He brings the Rabbeinu Chananel, and I'll read it inside. It says, Kabbalah b'ydeinu ki Rebbe Akiva ois hashana mesuken hoya. Rebbe Akiva that year was very sick. Ve'evi lo Rebbe Akiva roifim l'gmoya. The roifim brought Rebbe Akiva l'gmoya beitzim gulgeles ba'achros hayoyim. It's not halacha l'maisa that every Tisha B'Av that falls out on a Friday, you're supposed to eat an egg. V'Rebbe Yehuda lo dikdik. Lefichach samar mashara. Rebbe Yehuda didn't pay attention. He didn't realize that Rebbe Akiva was very sick. And he paskined the halacha based on not accurate information. Now, because of this piece of information that Rabbeinu Chananel tells us, so we have a better understanding in the next line. Not true. I don't care what happened with Rebbe Akiva, says Rabbi Yossi. Because based on Rabbeinu Chananel, what happened with Rebbe Akiva was a one-time thing that he was sick, and that's why he broke his fast on Friday. On Tisha B'Av, can you imagine eating an egg on Tisha B'Av? Who would believe such a thing? Now, today it doesn't happen anymore. There's no Tisha B'Av on Friday. The only fast that could happen in our days because of our calendar is Asar B'Tevis. This year. Very good. All right. So Mamela, Rabbi Yossi says, you umashlim. Again, the word umashlim means I finish my fast on Friday. I don't care that I'm going into Shabbos starving. I don't care that I'm fasting on Shabbos for a few minutes. It's more important, says Rabbi Yossi, to finish your Tisha B'Av in a fast. Rabbi Yossi, says Rabbi Yossi, don't you agree to me when Tisha B'Av falls out on Sunday? Right? Think about it. If it happens, right? Tisha B'Av falls out on a Sunday. When does the fast start, Rabbi Yisai? Does it start when you see 3 stars outside? You'd be a fool if you waited for that. If you're eating Shal Shudas until 3 stars, you're gonna break Tisha B'Av. So what do? You got to take it back a few minutes. Let's say you go 5 minutes. Let's call it. You want to be mamish 5 minutes, but you're middle of Shal Shudas. So think about it. You just ate mamish, like you fresh like a chazer, because you're allowed to, because it's Shabbos. You have all the foods in the world. You push it. You can't put another. If you put one grain of salt into your throat, you're going to throw up. That's how full you are. Says Rabbi Yossi, it doesn't matter. If I am telling myself that I cannot eat anymore, why? Because right now it's Tisha B'Av. Right now I must start my fast for Tisha B'Av a few minutes early, meaning part of Shabbos I'm fasting. You agree with me that you have to stop a few minutes earlier? Amr loy avol. And we had this lashon a few times already. Avol means, yeah, you're 100% right. You have to stop a few minutes before Shabbos goes out. Amr lahem. Oh, I got you. What is the difference if you must stop 5 minutes before Shabbos is over? We close shop, we say no more eating. Isn't that fasting on Shabbos? And what you're saying, and fasting all the way going into Shabbos on Friday. So it's a raya, says Rabbi Yossi, you finish your fast on Friday, and we don't care. You're allowed to fast on Friday, just like you're allowed to fast on Shabbos. If you're allowed to fast on Shabbos, that means 5 minutes at the end of Shalosh Shudas, you're allowed to fast. So you're allowed to fast 5 minutes on Friday night. I'm not worried about fasting into Shabbos for 5 minutes. So what's the obvious answer to what Rabbi Yossi said? What's the connection? He's mamish satiated. He just ate like we all eat at a Sudam of Sekes and Yom Kippur. We eat and we eat and we eat, and more water and more water. We're going to the bathroom for a half hour straight afterwards, right? We mamish eat, we can't eat anymore. So of course he could stop for 5 minutes before and it's not considered fasting. But the guy just fasted the whole Friday. He's in a 24-hour fast. He's going to arrive in Shabbos completely, what's the word? Emaciated. Yeah, he's completely, what's the word? Somebody? No. Dehydrated? No, I said emaciated. Okay, whatever the word is. He comes in, mamish, starving. He's 24 hours in a fast. That's awesome to come into Shabbos like that. Isn't that a very good taina, what they told him? And a second later it says, V'amar ula halachik Rabbi Yossi. No, it's a great taina, he's right. But still Rabbi Yossi is right. Why? Because of what we said before. The point is not how full you are. The point is when I don't allow you to eat, because halachically you can't eat, so you could be as full as you want. But right now I put you in a fast. I put you in a halachic fast. And I said, halachically, you cannot put one more piece of food in your mouth. You can't take another drink. That's a fast. And that's usur. And if it's mutter, and if you're telling me that's okay, and everybody said, aval, it's okay. It's okay to be in a halachic fast. So then it's okay to be in a halachic fast, Erev Shabbos as well. Then I'm allowed to go into Shabbos starving. There's no difference if I'm starving or completely full. The point is not inui me'una. The word me'una is not so good here. The word is fasting and not fasting. Bottom line is, if I'm allowed to fast 5 minutes at the end of Shabbos, even though I'm very, very full, it's still called fasting. So Mamela, I'm allowed to go 5 minutes from Friday into Shabbos, fasting halachically. And yes, you're right, you're very hungry. It doesn't matter. Fasting is fasting is fasting. It doesn't matter before Shabbos, doesn't matter on Shabbos. If I'm allowed to do it on Shabbos, then I'm allowed to do it Erev Shabbos. And that's why the halacha is like Rabbi Yossi. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yossi. Wait a minute. You just told me that halacha, Ula says that halacha is like Rabbi Yossi. Wait a minute. Remini ein goizrim tainas al tzibur b'rosh chodashim. This is a very, very long Mishnah. I don't remember such a long Mishnah in a long time. Im esechtes tainas. And all the way at the end of the Mishnah it says, you don't make a tainas al tzibur b'rosh chodashim. You don't decree a tainas on Rosh Chodesh, b'Chanukah, Ubepurim. What's the common denominator of these three things? They're special days, Rosh Chodesh, Purim, Chanukah, but they're not Yom Tovim. It's not a moed. You're not mechuyev to have a meal on Chanukah. You're not mechuyev to have a meal on Rosh Chodesh. You might be mechuyev to have one on Purim, but it's not a regal, it's not a moed. It's a lighter kind of day in terms of Yom Tov. So don't make a tinus on those days. And again, if you just came to shir to hear this simple Rashi, because if you were reading it just from the art school, maybe, I don't know, I didn't look in the art school to see this one, but I'm assuming that if it says, why is he on the screen? I guess if I see him, a lot of people see him. He's listening to shir. Okay, very good. That guy should be on the screen, yeah. So if you start, you think that it means if you started the fast. No, it means if you start a set of fasts. In other words, a person decides, I want to have a fast every Monday and Thursday, whatever his thing is. And he's starting 2 months before, not realizing that one of the Mondays is Purim. He forgot. That's Vim Yischilu. He started a month ago his fast, not today. He started a certain set going in, Ein Mafsikin. Then you got to go with your set. You have something going, go with it. Divrei Rebbe Gamliel. Excuse me. Omer Meir, Avavish, Omer Rebbe Gamliel, Ein Mafsikin. Comes Rebbe Meir and explains Rebbe Gamliel. Even though he says you fast, Moidahaya she'ein mashlimim. What does that mean, Ein Mashlimim? Mashlim until now we were saying means you go all the way into Shabbos fasting. So on Purim, Chanukah, and Rosh Chodesh, Ein Mashlimim. You don't finish the day. Very interesting. You fast. Let's call it, just pretend it's 24 hours. But we start from the morning. 24. So you do 23 hours and 52 minutes, whatever it is. You do most of it, but you have to break it all the way at the end. Ein Mashlimim. You don't finish it off. Why? It's Purim. It's Chanukah. You don't do it. V'chein, listen to this. V'chein b'Tisha B'av shechal liyos b'erev Shabbos. If Tisha B'av falls out on a Friday, ein mashlimim. You don't go into Shabbos hungry. You break the fast. You eat an egg without salt. So you go to see Rebbe Gamliel, not Rebbe Shimon Gamliel. Rebbe Gamliel, after he's nifter, and he told everybody, this is what you do. Comes Rabbi Yeshua, and he says, no, you must finish the fast. You must finish the fast. So, yeah. Before we paskin like Rabbi Yossi, will paskin like Rabbi Yossi, that you break the fast before Shabbos? Yeah, what are we paskin before? No, that you're allowed to fast on Shabbos, you're allowed to fast there. Okay, fine. No, so you paskin good. Nichnas Rabbi Yeshua offers dvarav. Comes Rabbi Yeshua and says, no, you have to be mashlim. Omar Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, Araglav Omar, Chaziano, the basar reisha gufa azil. The body goes after the head. And this was on Rosh Hashanah we were learning this. The entire year goes after the beginning on Rosh Hashanah. Right? It's Mardik. The whole body goes after the head. The whole year goes after the head of the year. In other words, after Rosh Hashanah, whatever you do on Rosh Hashanah, that's why they say you shouldn't take a nap on Rosh Hashanah. Too late this year. Next year, don't nap. Don't have kavana, chesed, don't fight. Who said? Ayin Mishnah Berurah. Zoya or not? Okay, if you're not Ma'aretz and you have to ask Rabbi Pessin, you can't look in the whole Mishnah Berurah, that's fine. That's fine. No, for people who don't know how to read Mishnah Berurah, you're right, 100%. You should ask Rabbi Pessin. Okay, yeah, no, I'm just saying, you're right. You could ask Rabbi Pessin. It's fine. Okay. Don't think twice about it. But I recommend you should read, because you actually learn Mishnah Berurah every day, so I don't know what you're asking. I don't learn Mishnah Berurah every day like you. You learn Mishnah Berurah and you're going to ask Rabbi Pessin, what's with you? This is my friend. He's just reading from the Mishnah Berurah. He's just quoting what the Mishnah Berurah says. So I'm telling you, look yourself in the Mishnah Berurah. What do you need him to read it for you? He's not arguing with the Chavetz Chaim, is he? Okay, so you could look by yourself what the Chavetz Chaim said. I know what you want. You're going to ask. The whole year goes based on Rosh Hashanah. And if you ask for a Pesach Rosh Hashanah, you're going to be asking for a Pesach the whole year. Rabbi Gamliel's entire life we passing like Rabbi Gamliel. That ain't mashlimim. According to the mayor, we don't. We break the fast. And you're telling me that you should be mashlim, you shouldn't break the fast. Yoshua ain't shoym l'cha. We don't listen to you. Shekvar nikba halacha Rabbi Gamliel. We're already passing like Rabbi Gamliel. And nobody said a word to Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. You're right, we go like Rabbi Gamliel. Says the Gemara, very interesting. Even so, when Rabbi Gamliel was alive, we went Rabbi Gamliel that you break the fast. That you don't break the fast of Shabbos, you go Tisha B'Av into Shabbos hungry. What? Is that a fact that when he was alive, everybody agreed to Rabbi Gamliel? I got to use this sparingly. It's not a joke. Little sips. It's a joke. Says the Gemara, so very interesting. There was a family, Snav ben Binyamin, who they donated wood to the Beis Hamikdash, to the... Okay, not bad. Shkoyach. They donated wood, and then there was Zoicha to have their wood brought on Asara B'Av. What day is Asara B'Av? Matzei Tisha B'Av. Shkoyach. So, they made it a yontif. They made it a yontif for the rest of their lives, forever, for generations. Asar B'Av became a yontif. It's like a Rabbanan yontif. Pamachas chal Tisha B'Av liyos b'Shabbos. Now, every year, it worked well. Tisha B'Av, they had a fast, and then they had yontif. Now, that's a problem right there. Why is that a problem? You hear, Leivi? Why is that a problem? Tisha B'Av is a fast. Asar B'Av is a yontif. That's our sugya. Could you go into a fast? You fast into a yontif. You're not allowed to fast even for a minute in yontif. Says the Gemara. So one time, Pamachas chal Tisha B'Av liyos b'Shabbos v'dechinu la'achar Shabbos. V'dechinu la'achar Shabbos. We pushed off that year that Tisha B'Av fell out on Shabbos. It was a nitcha to Sunday. And what do they do? So Tisha B'Av fell out on their yontif. Asar B'Av is their yontif. They have a Tisha B'Av on their yontif. V'saninu b'I v'lo yishlamnu. We fasted, and we did not, and we broke the fast. Why do we break the fast? Because it's our yontif. We can't fast the full Tisha B'Av on our yontif. We broke the fast. Says the Gemara, and the Gemara's medayik time the yontif erev yontif of mashlimim. But on a regular year, every single year, how did they have Tisha B'Av go into their yontif? It doesn't say that they broke every single year the Tisha B'Av. Only that particular year they broke the Tisha B'Av because it happened to be that the whole day of Tisha B'Av was on Asar B'Av, and it ruined their yontif. But on a regular year, it was okay with them that Tisha B'Av went into their yontif for a few minutes. If Tisha B'Av goes into their yontif for a few minutes, they should break it. According to Rabbi Gamliel, you break Tisha B'Av, you don't fast the whole Tisha B'Av. And when did they live? Snav, Ben Yamin, in the generation of Rabbi Gamliel. So you see that even when Rabbi Gamliel was alive, not everybody agreed with him. Ravina, the obvious answer, Shani Yontif shel Divrayim, Metoich Shemisanim Boishois, Mashlim Boy Arviois. I shouldn't say it's obvious, but we're talking about a made-up Yontif. It's only their family snav. And you know what the halacha is on a made-up Yontif like that? If somebody feels like fasting for 2-3 hours on a yontif, making mamish a fast, he's permitted. He's permitted to make a fast. Oh, so if he's permitted to fast for 3 hours, why shouldn't he be able to fast for 5 minutes? As yontif comes in, the mekabel, their special yontif asar ba'av, they're fasting for 5 minutes. Nish geferlach. If they can fast for 3 hours, they can fast for 5 minutes. Then if you could fast for a few hours, you could finish off Tisha B'Av and not break it. Shabbos, but our sugya, we started off asking, what if a Talmud Chacham is fasting Erev Shabbos, he's fasting going into a regular Shabbos, since you're not permitted to fast even for 1 minute on Shabbos, and therefore you can't fast that 1 minute where Friday connects to Shabbos. You can't fast. You can't call it a fast. Omer Rav Yosef, how many times do we have this in Shas? I can't count. I can't do a search because it's always different Lashonos. But it's many, many times. Maybe next time around, we should start over here, start counting. How many times did Rav Yosef say, Lo Shemi Eli Shemaitz, I forgot. Rav Yosef was very sick, and as he got older, he forgot all his learning, or a lot of his learning. And many, many times it's Abaya, especially Abaya, who reminds him and says, no, you did teach us this halacha, and you taught it to us here and there. He brings it back to him. Omer of Yosef, Lo Shemi Eli Shemaitz. I never heard of this. That what? What Ula said, that halacha is like Rabbi Yossi, that you finish off the fast. Not like Rabbi Gamliel. You finish. You don't break the fast. Omer Abaya, let me remind you, Rebbe, Ata Martin Halon, you did tell it to us. You once told it to us, you nebach, amnesia, whatever it's called, old age. V'hao Martin Halon. Ein goizrin taidin al tzibur b'roshi chodashim. You told us that Mishnah. Told us the Mishnah that you cannot decree a new fast on a Rosh Chodesh and a Purim and a Chanukah. V'amarta Allah, and you explained to us on that. Omer Rav Yehuda, Omer Rav, and Rav Yehuda said in the name of here. Rav Yehuda said in the name of Rav, Zudiv Meir Shamam Shemir Gamliel. This is Remeir in the name of Gamliel. Avachachamim Oimrim Misane Umashlim. Chachamim argue. Ma'alav Akulu. L'chayr, when he said that Chachamim argue and say that you should finish off the fast. So again, Rabbi Yossi, Ula says the halacha is you finish off a fast. Says Rabbi Yosef, I don't remember such a halacha. You told it to us. You said the Chachamim say it. And the halacha is like Chachamim, right? And l'chayra, what you meant is on everything, on the whole sentence. On Chanukah, on Purim, on Rosh Chodesh, and on Erev Shabbos. That's our case right now. Loi. That's not what Rav Yosef said it on. A Chanukah, Purim, and not on Erev Shabbos. That on Erev Shabbos they would agree that you don't finish the fast. You break the fast. Hochinamim istabra, and I'll prove it to you. The solkadaidocha kulu, because if Chachamim argue on the entire set on Erev Shabbos as well, Habai minei Rabba Rav Yehuda v'loi pashat lei. Rabba asked Rav Yehuda. That's how we started off the daf today. The question was, what happens if a Talmid Chacham is fasting on Erev Shabbos, and Erev Shabbos goes into Tisha B'Av, he's fasting a fast on Erev Shabbos, and it goes into Shabbos. Should he finish his fast on Erev Shabbos, or should he break it the last minute? And what does the Gemara say there? Rav Huna didn't know to answer, and Rav Yehuda didn't know to answer. But Rav Yehuda just a second said over in the name of Rav what the halacha is. The halacha is mashlim. You don't break the fast. Rav Yehuda, look at the words. Misano mashlim. Who says it? Omar Rav Yehuda, Omar Rav. So you're asking Rav Yehuda Shaila, and he says, I don't know. What do you mean I don't know? He said, I know very well. My Rebbe Rav told me that you're mashlim. You don't break the fast Erev Shabbos. So obviously, he wasn't talking about Erev Shabbos. That's the right. Obviously, he wasn't talking about Erev Shabbos. We're turning to Daf Aleph Amud Beis by our new sponsors. Number one, sponsor number one, Mark Steinberg. Schus for Shidduch for his son, Yitzchak Pesach ben Meir Yosef, he should be Zoich for Shidduch B'Karov. And Mr. Anonymous, Hatzloch in Yiddishkeit, Schus for his family to be Torah Dika Jews. Oh, says the Gemara, Ulatamech, is that a good raya? They tell me Rav Yehuda didn't know the answer, so Mistama, Rav never said the halacha on Erev Shabbos. Otherwise, he would have said the answer. In the name of Rav Huna is also the first one that says, I don't know the halacha. And all of a sudden, Rav Marzudra knows the halacha in the name of Rav Huna. When they ask Rav Huna, he says, I don't know, if somebody's fasting on Friday, going into Shabbos, should he finish the fast or should he break his fast? I don't know. And over here, Marzuzra says, in the name of Rav Huna, mashlim, halacha misano mashlim, you finish your fast, you don't break it. You didn't know the answer. Ella, we must say, so when Marzutra said in the name of Rav Huna, is because there was two periods in Rav Huna's life. A period he didn't know the halacha, and a period afterwards that he found out the halacha. So too, Rav Yehuda. There was a point when they asked Rav Yehuda, and he didn't know, but later on he heard from Rav Mefurish that mashlim, you don't break a fast. It's okay. He was younger, he didn't know, like Gershon. He asked Rav Pessin, and now he knows the halacha. Fine. Darish Marzutra, and this is the Marzutra that we just mentioned a second ago. Darish Marzutra Mishmei the Rav Huna. Halacha, and this is how we paskin, misanin umashlimin. So a person's fasting on Friday, ad asar b'teves, which is going to happen this year. You don't break the fast on asar b'teves the last minute just to not go into Shabbos hungry. The halacha is mashlimim. You finish the entire fast. Gevaldik hadron alach b'chol ma'arvin, hadron alach b'chol ma'arvin. Hadron alach b'chol ma'arvin, and Rabbi Isa, here we go, beautiful sugya. Should make a note of this sugya here.
So we see that you have to eat before Shabbos, so you're not going to Shabbos tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, good point. The halacha is that you're not allowed to make a su'uda erev Shabbos. You don't make a su'uda erev Shabbos. There are people that do, they call it toyameha, a whole thing. They bring out the kugel and the shond and the whole zach. It's not so halachically oisgehalten, but you certainly should not go into Shabbos starving. So you don't have a suda. You don't need a lot. You don't, because you want to go in with a taiva to eat, but also you don't go in starving. Says the Mishnah. I love this Mishnah. If goyim lift a guy up, unfortunately, it's unfortunate, it's maisa. This is crazy. Nichnas by shed, a shed goes in, or otherwise known in English like a mental illness. A guy is like schizophrenic or something. He's not controlling himself. And he brings himself out of the tchum. Or the goyim bring him out. So they're both shoyging. He finds himself outside of the tchum, he only has 4 amas. Hechziru, but what if they bring him back? Kilu lo yotza. So this is a tremendous chiddush. If they bring you back into the tchum, so nothing happened. You pretend it never happened. They took you out, they bring you back. If they take you out, you remain there, you could only go 4 amas. But if they bring you back, then everything is gewaldig. Wow. Shalom Aleichem. I just want to say hello to a few people here. I see my Swedish friend. Are you still in Sweden? He doesn't hear me. Okay. Fine. And Avi Mandelbaum, the Baltic. How many mistakes, Avi? Show me with your fingers. How many mistakes did you have? You had 1? 0. See this? 0. The nays. Anyway, fine. Mamish nisim and it flies. It's the rookie's luck. The rookie's always, the first time you give somebody a chveis, they put him up to bat, he'll hit a home run. That's how it goes.
What was that?
Says the Gemara, what if they take this guy and they bring him to another city? I blew I don't know how many coils. I blew whatever the Siddur says to blow. What? Oh, 100. Okay, fine. 0 experience. I know it's killing you. Avi, it's killing you. This amateur. Anyways, here we have this. We had this before. This is called the deer. This is an enclosed area that you take your animals. You put them on the grass here, so the manure. Whatever. Okay, fine. to fertilize the field. And then this is a temporary one. It's the same idea. And this is the permanent one. This is where they live. Here's a house. We spoke about it extensively in other sugyas. Over here, the point is that there's a fence. So it's like a Rosh Hashanah. So that's what we had on Daf Yomi, which we learned before, but we're not going to tell people on YouTube that we learned it before. Oh, I'm supposed to say Lili Nishmas Imi Merotzi Rusbas Mordechai. Very good. I appreciate it. Thank you. But that's on Amud Beis. But it's better later than ever. Mahalach Kula. What? Oh, you showed it. Okay. Mahalach Kula. He has the entire Rishus HaYochid. Rabbi Yeshua and Rabbi Kiva Oimrim Ein Lo Yelo Daled Amos. He's stuck in a little box, Daled Amos, that every human being has, no matter where he is, even if he's in Rosh Hashanah, he has Daled Amos. That's it. Why? Because Rabbi Kiva holds that that he's in a Rosh Hashanah, but you have to be in that Rosh Hashanah. You have to be kind of shvis in that Rosh Hashanah before Shabbos. They put him there on Shabbos. He doesn't have the right to shpir zacharuma over there and then be metayel around his Rosh Hashanah. Ma'isa shabo mipal dasrin v'fligas v'nosam bayam. They came to this famous port, and what happened was, let's see if I have the picture here. For some reason I don't see it. Maybe it's here. Oh, Yoni draws it very nicely. And basically, their ship came in, but it blew away from the wind. Okay, so here's the ship. Here's the port, and they got blown away. Vifliga means that it went from the shallow to the deep, so it was blown away. So Rabbi Gamliel and Rabbi Azariah, they decided it's like this deer that we just had. They had the entire ship. And we learned already at the end of the sugya in Amud Beis, Machloikis, is it the walls that are kaina, or is it because the ship moves fast and you keep on getting 4 amas? Hilchos kula. Rabbi Shua Rabbi Kiva leizazim daled amas. So you see over here in the picture, Rabbi Kiva holds, you get this little box, that's it. And Rabbi Gamliel he got the whole thing. According to Rabbi Gamliel, you get everything. According to Rabbi Kiva, you get this little box. Rabbi Yeshua and Rabbi Kiva loizozim daled amas. Sherotzu lahachmir al atzmon. The Gemara is going to discuss, what does this mean? Chumrah. Either they hold that it's mutter, or they hold that it's asur. Why is it a chumrah? Says the Gemara. It says the Mishnah. They didn't get into the port. Rashi says nomel porta. He uses that lashon. So they come in, they're very busy. They're constantly on these ships. A lot of mice with them on the ships, all these Tanaim, the famous Tanaim. They show up into the port when it's dark already. It's already Shabbos. Were we in the Tchum when it became Shabbos or not? I noticed, and look how Yoni draws this, and this is accurate based on what we're going to have in the Gemara. He's looking in a telescope. He's looking, not a telescope, but more like a tool. It's a device that you look through, it's a scope that could tell you the distance you are from the shore. And this scope tells me that I'm less than 2,000 amas from the shore, and in Mela, I'm part of the city. So you can debark, whatever the word is, from a ship, I have no idea. What? Disembark, whatever, is that the word from a ship? Disembark from a ship. Because, yes, it was traveling, but it was within the tchum of the city. Rabbi say, here we go. There are 3 things that will make you lose your mind and make you rebel against HaKadosh Baruch Hu, your master, your kainai, the one that owns you. That's koine. Elohim. Oivdik yechavim veruach ra'a v'dikduke anios. How many of you noticed today, in Tashlich, we daven about these three things? It says, ruach ra'a v'dikduke anios. It says that lashon. In other words, we're asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu in Tashlich, and it's very important to notice. On Rosh Hashanah, again, back to Rosh Hashanah. We're asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu that we shouldn't lose our mind. Because once we snap, it's too late. Then we're not in the parsha anymore. You can't do mitzvahs if you snapped. And you can't daven when you snap that you shouldn't be snapped. You don't even know that you snapped. So you need to daven beforehand. On Rosh Hashanah, you need to daven for these things. You need to daven, I should have a normal brain. How many people, Rahman Islam, nervous breakdowns, all these things. You don't want to snap. You snap, it's all over. It's too late at that point, unless you heal. But when you're in a snapped matzav, you're snapped. So you got to daven beforehand on Rosh Hashanah. That what? The goyim could force you, goyim could mean movies, that kind of, no, not over here. It means they force you to do some bad stuff. Viruach ra is mental illness. A shade, Rashi calls it a shade, comes into you and drives you crazy. V'dikduke anius, and struggling with parnasa could cause a person to be oival das koinoi. Unfortunately, they'll cause him to lose it, to snap, or to rebel against HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Gemara is just telling us information. Lemivei rachme elayu. Oh, it's not too late. Aser simei tshuva is also a time that Dirshu Hashem be matzai. It's right here during the Aser simei tshuva. Special rachamim, our tefillah works. Says the Gemara, Shloishin ein roim pnei Gehenna. Unreal. There are three people that are not going to Gehenna. They're not going to see it even. Eluhain. It depends. If you want, you have all three of these. I don't know. Maybe all four. Digduke anios. If a person struggles with parnasa, v'choyli ma'ayin, and a person who has intestinal disease, v'roshus, and if he has creditors, those people that are constantly knocking on the door, or nowadays they constantly call you on the phone, credit card, what's with you, when are you going to pay? Running away from debt. It's incredible, because a person thinks to himself, "Oy, I wish I was wealthy, I wish this, I wish that." But the Dikduke Anios, being poor, is what saves a person from Gehenna. Unbelievable. A person who has a bad wife, and it could be, the bad wife is the extreme example, because the bad wife is within your Dalet Amas your whole life. You go home to her, you're there with her, you're always with the bad person. But it could be a bad child, it could be a bad neighbor, bad employee, bad employer. In other words, these people that cause you pain and aggravation, they save you from Gehenna. Now, Isha Ra is mamish, she'll save you. It's interesting to note. It's not really spoken about, and maybe it's a little taboo, but that's what I'm all about. The Chazon Ish is known, he married a woman who wasn't 100. Let's call her not 100. And what's very interesting is that he was engaged and he knew that she was not with it. But he held that it's a bigger issur to break an engagement than to get divorced. And he suffered his whole life from it. He also suffered from B'nai Ma'ayin. He had a terrible intestinal disease. He used to learn a lot laying down, but it's unbelievable. Isha Ra that could cleanse you from Gehenna. I don't know if that was one of his cheshbonos. I wouldn't call her Ra, but she was not 100. It caused him a lot of tzar. V'idach, and what is so how come if it's such a powerful thing, a Isha Ra, a woman who drives him crazy every day, so how come it's not in one of, it says three things. Anios, Cholim Ayim, Roshos, people that credit, but it doesn't talk about Isha Ra. So how come he doesn't bring in Isha Ra? Says the Gemara, Isha Ra mitzvah legarsha. It's a mitzvah to divorce such a woman. So you're not going to come to the, one of my favorite jokes. It's a mitzvah to say this joke over as many times as possible. I was once honored in Chicago at a dinner, and I said this, but I turned it around. I said it about my wife, sort of, and I said that my wife, the bottom line is that the whole place is on the floor. I said that my wife went to a Rav and asked the Rav, what should she do? She was over Aveira. What kind of kaparas? The Rav said, go marry the biggest meshuggah in town. So she went around and she found me. That's the advice. So she marries me, and I was such a good husband. The first few days, mamish, I was nice, this, that. And I see that she's not. What's going on here? She's not going to get the kapara that the Rav promised her. The guy's normal. The guy's mamish. I bought her flowers, the whole thing, breakfast in bed. So finally she plotzes, and she said, I heard things about you. Why? How are you so normal? I said, you think that because of me you're going to get Gan Eden? No way, not for me. But anyways, so this Isha Ra, you have to divorce the Isha Ra. Zimnin, v'idach zimnin l'ksubasam meruba. Sometimes you can't divorce her. Sometimes you're stuck with the Isha Ra. Why? Too expensive. What if you promise in the ksuba a lot of money and you really can't afford it? So you're stuck with her. Inami, or islay banamina. Person has children with her, can't divorce her. The Muslim garishlo. Rabbi Isai, here comes the Yisoid. One of the biggest Yisoidis in life, period. L'may nafkimina. What's the nafkimina if you don't get Gehenna from it? You do 3, 4. Says the Gemara, l'kabule me'ahava. To accept the gzardin, to accept the whatever Yisur HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives a person, whether it's struggling for parnasa, whether it's a terrible wife, a terrible child, whatever it is, to accept it be'ahava. It's unbelievable. I think, if we think about it a little bit, most of us go through Yisurim, right? Everybody has their little peckle, their little thing. It would be a shame to miss the opportunity. The Gemara says you should accept it me'ahava. And if you don't accept it me'ahava, then you don't get the benefit of these Yisurim. The Yisurim are there to clean you and not to see Gehenna. As a crazy, far-fetched example, again, taboo. One of my friends, unfortunately, lost their child in a drowning accident. And a relative of his called me up to tell me that it happened that day. And they were crying on the phone and said, why did Hashem do this? Why? Kid is so young, a 4-year-old. How old was she? 6 or 4? I don't remember anymore. 4? You just can't. Why did Hashem do it? She was nifter at 6. It happened when she was 4. She lived for like as a vegetable. Why did Hashem? Mamish tainus, and I'm trying to. And I think, listen, everybody, if she would have accepted it then and there at that meal, then you get the full benefit of get. If a person accepts it 10 minutes later, you get benefit, maybe not the same amount. 10 years later, it would be a shame and a waste if this person still has that tain on HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You know what I'm saying? That's an extreme, and you can't judge a person in such a matzav. But it's a yisoid for life. You have to accept it me'ahava. The yisurim are there anyways. You might as well benefit from it. Shloisha meisim kisheim misaprim. There are 3 people that are nifter as they're talking. In other words, without any warning, all of a sudden, poof, the nifter. I find this also, it's very scary. Velohein, what are they? Choyli ma'ayim, people that have intestinal disease. I could say maybe my mother who had pancreatic cancer. It's the intestinal. It's like this. It's unfortunately very, very quick. V'chayo, and a woman who gives birth, it's very quick. V'droikon. And this is a little scary. If you look at Rashi, hidroikon, choyle apeh. And the first thing that I thought about is our neighbor, Mrs. Epstein, who had a choyle apeh. And she was mama, she was with us, and talking and everything, and all of a sudden, boom! This mama is Gemara right over here. It happened within a day. She was up, and then she was nifter. Hidroikon. Choyle apeh. Why does the Gemara have to tell us that these people are nifter quickly? Okay, there's science. What's the nafkamina? Lemashmushibu zvato. So you go by tachrichim. Whoa, what does that mean? Go by you by tachrichim. They'll be nifter, and there's a lot of chaver kedishas out there that'll say tachrichim. Why do I need to know about this disease? I should run around as soon as somebody has a choyle apeh. I should run to the tachrichim's door. The Gemara is telling us a big yesod. When a person has one of these diseases, he has to start taking care of his business. He doesn't know when it's going to happen. So Mele has to write a tzava, he has to pay back his chayvas, he has to get his stuff in order because he doesn't know when it's going to happen. Says Shmuel, if a person deliberately goes out of the tchum, he had no right doing it, so he only gets 4 amas. Pshita, hashta. Now, if you think about it, look what the Mishnah says. The first words in the Mishnah. So the Mishnah tells us a story. Goyim pick up this guy. Imagine, he's at the Shabbos meal. Goyim come in, lift him up, bring him out of the tchum. And they start laughing at him. You can't move, you can't move. Now, they do him a favor and they bring him back to his house. But the Mishnah says 2 things. The guy brought him there and the guy brings him back. What if he himself went there and the guy brought him back? Or what if the guy brought him there and he said, what am I, sugar? I'm going to stay outside in the desert the entire night. He runs back home. Is he allowed to go wherever he wants? What's the obvious answer? The Mishnah says only when it happened both ways. There and back by a guy. And if you yourself, if you want to be medayik from a Mishnah, if you yourself do any one of those ways, whether you went there deliberately and the guy brought you back, or the guy brought you there and you went back, l'chayra, you can't go anywhere. It's only when you have that condition in the Mishnah. So let's go through it here. If the guy brings you there, you only have 4 amas. Okay, so that's the first case in the Mishnah. So of course, if you go by yourself, you can't go anywhere. What happened was the guy brought you there, and you came all the way back. Isn't that also mefurish in our Mishnah? It says it's dafka echziru the kiluyatza, only when the guy did both. What if the guy brought you there and you decided to run back home? You were over on tchum. I don't care how you got there. So it's a big rachmanas that they brought you there, but you need to stay there. And if you come back, you don't get your full 2,000 amas. You only get 4 amas. Maybe the pshat is yatzal adas. You went there. You were over on the aveira. You went out of the tchum. And the guy brought you back. And if that's the case, what's the big chiddush over there? The Mishnah says 2 things. They brought him there and they took him back. And if any one of those things you did by yourself, okay. Says Gemara, the same katani. I would think that the Mishnah is telling us 2 separate halachas. Mi shoytziu nachrim is halacha number 1. Hechziru is halacha number 2. In other words, mi shoytziu nachrim v'chazal adas. If the goyim took you one way and you came back by yourself, ein lo yela arbamas. Aval yotzal adas hechziru nachrim ki lo yotzal. I would think that that's a different halacha. That if you went by yourself and the guy brought you back, maybe it's as if you never even went anywhere and you could go as far as you want because the Mishnah is telling you 2 separate halachas. Says the Gemara, no, the Mishnah is telling us 1 halacha. The only way that you could do whatever you want and go wherever you want is if the guy brought you there and brought you back. But if you went by yourself and the guy brought you back, no good. 2 more lines. What if a guy is stuck in the desert in the 4 amos? He can't go anywhere, but he needs to go to the bathroom. Now, he can't go to the bathroom in front of everybody. That's embarrassing. This is a mitzvah in the Torah, that you have to listen to everything Chacham say. Chacham say you can't go out of the Tchum, so you can't go out of the Tchum. However, not embarrassing yourself in public pushes off that mitzvah or the aveira of leisasur. Now, obviously, other averas, we learned this a bunch of times. If a person is wearing shatnez, and that means he has to take off his pants in front of everybody, he must do so. And other halachas that kavod habriyos is not doicha da'iraisis, but this halacha of leisasur, they have to listen to the Talmud Chacham to gadol, that it does push off. Says the Gemara, so memela, if I have to go to the bathroom, I can't embarrass myself, so I go to the bathroom. So I start walking out of the tchum. I could go out of the tchum. Says the Gemara, ipikechu, amri narda, they said in narda, ipikechu, and this is not halacha. If he's a smart one, ay l'tchuma. He starts walking towards the city. He doesn't go in the opposite direction. He starts walking to where there's people. And he says, I need a bathroom. Oh, I can't go here because everybody's... So he keeps on walking. And then he finally finds himself in the city. Oh, once you're in the city, now he can go throughout the whole city as far as he wants. Rabbi Isai, have a wonderful year, a wonderful day, a wonderful week. Be'ezer Hashem, I shall see you tomorrow morning. I don't know if I have a daf prepared yet, but something will happen. We're waiting for Nes. Maybe Leiby will teach it to me or something. And have a wonderful, wonderful evening.